My name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die.
The Princess Bride is not simply a fairy tale. It is a daring journey disguised under the veil of fanciful dreams. A journey told through the song of swords, fire-spouting swamps, and bizarre creatures beyond imagination. But behind that fantastical world lies a chaotic reality where art is created through sacrifice, laughter, and tears. A blow in the script turned into a real emergency trip, leaving a scar and an immortal shot. The laughter on set was so strong that it fractured a rib, and while a monster was ablaze, an anonymous crew member's legs accidentally entered the frame, a humorous mistake permanently preserved in the final cut. These are the real fragments that created a legend. A place where dedication is measured by stitches on the head, and a kiss must be sacred enough that the director forced them to redo it over 30 times until it carried the taste of eternity. Draw your sword. We are about to storm the castle of these secrets. These are the behind-the-scenes truths you never saw on screen. 1. The unscripted blow. In a scene at Prince Humperdinck's castle, Westley is knocked unconscious by Count Rugen with the hilt of a sword. In the script, it was just a basic action sequence carefully choreographed to ensure safety. But Cary Elwes, who played Westley, felt that merely pretending to be hit wasn't convincing enough. He wanted the audience to truly feel the weight of the blow, so he made a bold suggestion Christopher Guest, who played Count Rugen, should actually hit him. Initially, Guest was hesitant, as hitting a fellow actor for real is taboo in the industry. But under Elwes' insistence, he reluctantly agreed. When the camera started rolling, the atmosphere on set grew tense. Guest swung the metal sword hilt directly at Elwes' head, pulling no punches. The sound of the impact was unmistakable. It wasn't a sound effect, but a real hit. Elwes didn't act the fall. He collapsed to the floor completely unconscious. Chaos immediately erupted on set. Director Rob Reiner shouted, "Cut!" and everyone rushed to check on Elwes. He was taken to the hospital right away and woke up hours later with a throbbing head and a few stitches. Elwes had no memory of the blow, but that scene was kept in the final cut of the film. When you watch The Princess Bride, Westley's dazed expression in that moment isn't acting. It's the genuine aftermath of a hit Elwes volunteered for, all in the name of art. 2. Laughter that caused injury. Billy Crystal, who played Miracle Max, was only on set for one day, but his presence created an uncontrollable storm of humour. Crystal, with his natural improvisational talent, completely disregarded the original script, replacing it with his own inventive lines. With each take, he added new jokes, drawing the entire crew into his comedic performance. Cary Elwes, playing Westley, who was supposed to lie motionless on the table, as mostly dead tea, couldn't maintain his composure. He repeatedly burst into laughter, shaking his body and forcing the crew to reshoot multiple times. But the biggest victim of this hurricane of humour was director Rob Reiner. He laughed so hard that his laughter was picked up by the microphones, ruining the audio for the scene. After several failed takes, Reiner had to leave the set and watch from another room with a towel stuffed in his mouth to muffle his laughter. However, the funniest mishap involved Mandy Patinkin, who played Inigo Montoya. Determined not to let Crystal distract him, Patinkin clenched his abs and tried to suppress his laughter. While he succeeded in keeping a serious face, he ended up tearing an intercostal muscle from the strain. Years later, Patinkin revealed that this was the only injury he sustained throughout the entire filming process. Crystal's humour not only left a lasting mark on the film, but also became a memorable behind-the-scenes story showcasing the power of laughter, even when it unintentionally causes real injury. 3. The sword that carried pain. For Mandy Patinkin, the role of Inigo Montoya held profound personal meaning, not just as a character in the script, but as an opportunity to confront the greatest pain of his life. Patinkin's father, passed away from cancer when he was just 18 years old, leaving him with a deep emotional wound. When he took on the role of the swordsman who dedicates his life to avenging his father's death, Patinkin saw himself in Inigo. All of his real emotions were channeled into the character, especially during the final sword fight with Count Rugen, the man who killed Inigo's father. When facing Rugen, Patinkin didn't just see a fictional villain. He imagined that the figure before him was the cancer that had taken his beloved father. With every iconic line, "My name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die!" His voice became powerful and filled with emotion, as if he were directly confronting his own pain and anger. Each sword strike wasn't just part of the scene, but a cathartic release for Patinkin. It wasn't acting. It was a cleansing act for his soul. When the fight ended, he felt as though he had truly avenged his father, as if a part of the burden in his heart had been lifted. 4. Small mistakes that became legend. Movies aren't always perfect, and The Princess Bride is proof that little errors can sometimes become the most memorable parts. One of the funniest mistakes is in the scene where Wesley battles the ROUS rodents of unusual size in the fire swamp. As Wesley sets the monster ablaze, the tense action and fast-paced scene keep viewers on edge. But if you look closely, you'll notice a mysterious pair of legs stepping into the bottom right corner of the frame. These legs didn't belong to Wesley or Buttercup, but likely to a crew member, possibly a safety officer monitoring the fire effects. The legs accidentally made it into the frame without anyone noticing until the film was completed. Instead of fixing it, the detail was left in as a reminder that even masterpieces aren't entirely flawless. 5. When the author ruins a scene. Not only actors can create chaos on set, sometimes even the author of the story can unintentionally cause hilarious moments. William Goldman, who wrote the novel and screenplay, was a constant presence on set, closely observing everything. His attachment to the characters was like a father's love for his children, sometimes leading to awkward situations. In one scene in the fire swamp, Buttercup's Robin Wright dress was designed to catch fire as part of a carefully prepared special effect. The dress was made of flame-resistant material, and the technical team had calculated all risks to ensure absolute safety. However, Goldman, unaware of these safety measures, completely panicked when he saw Buttercup's dress ignite. Amidst the tense silence of the set, he screamed, "Oh my God, her dress is really on fire!" His loud outburst ruined the audio for the scene, prompting director Rob Reiner to shout, "Cut!" as the entire crew burst into laughter at Goldman's excessive worry. The team had to explain in detail that everything was under control. Even though Goldman unintentionally disrupted the shoot, the moment highlighted his deep love for the characters. To him, Buttercup wasn't just a fictional character, she was a part of his soul, and he was willing to do anything to protect her, even if it meant stopping the entire production. 6. The Fragile Giant. On screen, André the Giant was Fezzik, a gentle giant with extraordinary strength. He could lift 3 men at once and block a massive punch with his forehead. He embodied unshakable power. But in real life, André the Giant was a man in pain. Years of professional wrestling had severely damaged his body, especially his back. By the time The Princess Bride was filmed, he was enduring chronic, excruciating back pain. When Fezzik lifts Wesley Cary Elwes in the film, Elwes was actually standing on a series of hidden platforms cleverly disguised behind André. When Fezzik catches Princess Buttercup Robin Wright as she jumps down, she was actually leaping from a very low platform, and André was supported by hidden cables to reduce pressure on his back. In the scene where Fezzik carries an unconscious Wesley on his shoulders, it wasn't André at all. It was a stunt double of similar height. André simply couldn't handle the weight. The crew worked tirelessly to accommodate André's limitations. They designed scenes around his physical constraints, and the other actors were careful not to put additional strain on him. They did all of this out of love for André, knowing that while his body was weakening, his spirit remained gigantic. Fezzik's true strength wasn't in the muscles you see on screen. It was in the extraordinary determination of a man who kept smiling, bringing joy to everyone, and giving his all to his role, even when every movement was a personal trial. 7. Vizzini's anxiety. Wallace Shawn delivered a memorable performance as Vizzini, the cunning and self-assured schemer. But beneath the humour and boldness of the character lay the deep insecurities of the actor. Shawn, who was cast as a replacement for the studio's original choice Danny DeVito, constantly felt he wasn't good enough. He believed he was merely a backup and feared being fired at any moment. The pressure was so overwhelming that Shawn had a panic attack on set. In one scene, he trembled so much that he couldn't remember his lines. Director Rob Reiner had to reassure him that he was the perfect Vizzini. Ironically, Shawn's nervousness and his unique rhythm of delivery helped create a Vizzini who was quirky, distinct, and beloved. Shawn's insecurity is a reminder that personal vulnerabilities can sometimes become artistic strengths. His role not only brought laughter, but also gave the character a depth rarely found in a comedic villain. 8. The battle for the soul of the story. Before the film was produced, a major argument broke out between the studio and screenwriter William Goldman. The studio wanted to cut the framing story, the scenes of the grandfather reading to his grandson. They thought it was unnecessary and complicated the main narrative. But for Goldman, this wasn't just a minor detail. It was the soul of the Princess Bride. Goldman believed the framing device was essential for connecting generations. The story wasn't just a fairy tale, it was about the way values, love, and imagination are passed down from one person to another. He declared, "If you touch that part, you'll have to make this movie without me." Fortunately, director Rob Reiner sided with Goldman. He too believed that the framing story was indispensable. The decision to keep it not only preserved the film's soul, but also made The Princess Bride a timeless story, a fairy tale not just told, but brought to life across generations. 9. The perfect kiss and 30 retakes. The final kiss between Wesley and Buttercup. The moment that concludes the story was one of the most challenging scenes for the entire crew. Director Rob Reiner wanted a perfect kiss not only beautiful, but also one that conveyed the feeling of eternity. Cary Elwes and Robin Wright kissed over and over. Each time Reiner yelled, "Cut, do it again," because it wasn't quite right. After 29 takes, both actors were nearly exhausted. Elwes joked that all the romance had disappeared, leaving only the determination to finish the scene. Wright admitted that their lips had gone numb from kissing so many times. Finally, on the 30th take, Reiner was satisfied. The kiss that audiences see on screen isn't flashy or dramatic, but tender and full of emotion, a moment that gently closes the fairy tale. It's a testament to Reiner's perfectionism and the patience of the actors who turned this scene into an unforgettable symbol of romance. 10. The Curse of the Spinal Tap Hat. When Rob Reiner convinced Mark Knopfler, the leader of Dire Straits, to compose the film's score, Knopfler made an unusual condition. He requested that Reiner include the baseball cap he wore in This Is Spinal Tap, somewhere in The Princess Bride. Reiner, with his sense of humour, kept his promise. The hat appears subtly hanging on a bedpost in the grandson's bedroom. This Easter egg is a fun detail for observant viewers and a testament to the camaraderie among the creators of two iconic works. The hat isn't just a small prop, it's a symbol of the free-spirited creativity that defines The Princess Bride. 11. The birth of As You Wish. The iconic line, "As You Wish," didn't originally appear in the script. Initially, Wesley's response to Buttercup was simply, "Yes," but Cary Elwes felt the line was too plain. and suggested a change. The revised line became a romantic symbol, subtly replacing the 3 words, "I love you." "As You Wish" perfectly conveyed Wesley's unconditional devotion to Buttercup and eventually became the heart of the film. It's a testament to how a small adjustment can transform a simple line into an enduring expression of love. 12. The harsh reality of the fire swamp. On screen, the fire swamp is a magical, dangerous world. But behind the scenes, it was a genuine nightmare. Smoke machines ran constantly, making the air on set thick and hard to breathe. Cary Elwes nearly fainted from heat exhaustion, while the stunt performer, wearing the ROUS rodents of unusual size costume, had to rest after every take to avoid collapsing from fatigue. The visually stunning scenes of the fire swamp were achieved at the cost of grueling hours in an incredibly harsh environment. What appeared enchanting on camera was in reality a test of endurance for the cast and crew. 13. Arnold Schwarzenegger, almost played Fezzik. In the early stages of the project, when the film was being planned in the 1970s, Arnold Schwarzenegger, then an up-and-coming actor, was eager to play Fezzik. However, due to delays in production by the time the film was finally made in the 1980s, Schwarzenegger had become a superstar thanks to The Terminator. His salary demands far exceeded the film's budget. Ultimately, the role went to André the Giant, a choice so perfect that it's hard to imagine anyone else as Fezzik. Schwarzenegger's loss became André's defining moment. 14. Buttercup wasn't always Robin Wright. The search for Buttercup lasted longer than expected, with many prominent actresses like Uma Thurman, Meg Ryan and Courtney Cox auditioning for the role. However, director Rob Reiner felt that none of them fully embodied the character. When Robin Wright, an unknown actress at the time, walked into the audition, everything changed. Her gentle acting and the authentic sadness in her eyes convinced Reiner instantly. Robin didn't just play Buttercup, she was Buttercup. 15. Where did the ROUS growls come from? The terrifying growls of the rodents of unusual size weren't created using animal sounds or computer effects. They were made by director Rob Reiner himself in a recording booth. He growled, snarled and roared until he nearly lost his voice. Ironically, during one recording session, the sound engineer forgot to press the record button. Reiner had to redo the entire session, but his efforts paid off, bringing the creatures to life in a way no one else could. 16. Box office failure. VHS legend. When The Princess Bride was released in 1987, it failed at the box office. The studio struggled to market. Was it a comedy, an adventure, a romance, or a children's movie? Audiences didn't show up and the film quickly faded from theatres, but then VHS saved it. Families passed the movie around and it became a classic at midnight college screenings. What started as a commercial failure eventually became a cultural phenomenon, all thanks to the love and devotion of its fans. 17. A pandemic reunion. In 2020, during the COVID-19 pandemic, the cast of The Princess Bride reunited virtually for a charity event. They performed a live reading of the script from their homes, creating a touching and nostalgic moment. Despite its simplicity and technical execution, the reading retained the magic of the film, proving the enduring power of the story. 18. Fred Savage was discovered at a pizza place. Fred Savage, who played the grandson, wasn't cast through a traditional audition. Director Rob Reiner happened to see him in a pizza restaurant and was charmed by his natural charisma and adorableness. Without a formal audition, Reiner invited Savage to join the film, a decision that brought authenticity and warmth to the framing story. 19. André the Giant never saw the film. André the Giant, who gave us a lovable, and unforgettable Fezzik never watched the completed movie on the big screen. After filming ended, his health deteriorated rapidly. Chronic back pain and complications from acromegaly made sitting in a theatre for 2 hours unbearable. Director Rob Reiner offered to bring a private copy of the film to André's home or farm, but André smiled and declined, saying, "I don't need to see it. I lived it." For André, the joy wasn't in the finished product, but in the process of creating it. From the laughter on set to the friendships he formed, André cherished the memories far more than any image on a screen. His perspective is a poignant reminder that the journey is often more meaningful than the destination. 20. A legacy preserved in the Library of Congress. This is a sad and touching truth, a somber note in the joyful symphony of The Princess Bride. André the Giant, who brought the kind and unforgettable Fezzik to life, never had the chance to fully experience the film on the big screen. After the filming process ended, his health deteriorated rapidly. His chronic back pain worsened, and complications from acromegaly gigantism continued to take their toll. Sitting still in a theatre for 2 hours became nearly impossible for him. Travelling to film premieres was also too much of a burden. Director Rob Reiner, aware of André's condition, kindly offered to bring a private copy of the film to André's home or farm so he could watch it comfortably. It was a thoughtful gesture, but André smiled and gently declined. He said to Reiner a line that perfectly summarised his philosophy on life: "I don't need to see it. I lived it." For André, the joy wasn't in the final product. It was in the process of creating it. It was in the laughter on set, the friendships he built with his fellow actors, and the opportunity to be part of something magical. He treasured those memories far more than any image on a screen. It's a profound reminder that sometimes the journey truly matters more than the destination. The Princess Bride is not a perfect work. It is a film woven from mistakes, sweat, and the dedication of people who love their craft. The genuine moments from personal pain to laughter on set are what turned it into a legend. The magic of the film doesn't lie in its special effects or budget. It lies in the hearts and determination of the people who created it. This is a fairy tale that lives on, not because it is perfect, but because it is so real.